You want to mod Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. Before we get started, you will need a few things. The first, you will need an SD card. Probably about 2 gigs is the minimum requirement. However, these things are getting stinking cheap and have a lot of memory now. So finding a good one isn't going to be too difficult. On top of that, you will also need the Wii U and the Wii U version of the game, obviously. And the final thing, you'll need an internet connection. Basically, the SD card acts as a link to the major server that installs all these mods for you. So without further ado, let's get started. First, we're going to insert the SD card into the computer. There we go. Now once your SD card is completely empty, you'll want to format it. Pretty easy. You just right-click it, you get all these options, and click on Format. Yeah, basic FAT32 default, that's all you need to do. Just a nice, quick format to make sure everything is properly suited for this. Doesn't take too long. There we go. Now we go back into the SD card. Now, there'll be a little link in the description. Basically, this is where you have all your apps. Let me just show you what the page will look like. It will also be a nice little tutorial in case I'm not explaining it too well here. And also the codes for the folder if you're playing on the European version of this game. So you just simply click on this link right here. Take you to this page. Click on the top one. Save it. It's all downloaded alright. Go into our downloads. There it is, right at the top. Basically, just take this folder, extract it, put it right in the SD card. There we go. Go to the SD card. Sometimes you have to refresh it. It won't catch it right away. And then, folder, and you call it SD Caffeine. Be sure you spell it with 2 I's. You go in there. You name the file this if you're playing on the North American release. If you're playing on the European release, you name the next file this. As you'll notice, they're very close. It's just in the United States release, it's 4. In Europe, it's 5. Pretty simple. So then we just go ahead, name our folder. 3 zeros, 5, followed by 4 zeros, 101, capital C, 9400. Excellent. Then you go in there. You can name this next folder whatever you want. Name it content, name it mods, whatever floats your boat. I'm just going to keep it mods for consistency. And then this next one, you name content. Sure to keep it lowercase. I'm not sure if it'll affect it, but once again, I just want to keep it consistent. I don't know in there. And then in this content folder, that is where you dump your files. So, for the sake of example, I did a video a while ago that showed everything involved with the Zelda conversion package, and then I substituted what was not available with the Linkle Mod. I already went ahead and I took care of downloading all the necessary files. So first, we start with the Zelda Pack update. That will be the base. Basically, it'll be Zelda, but she will be involved with the Champion's uniform, the default armor, and I believe also the Hylian armor. However, there's another pack out there for the Hylian armor, so it all depends on what your preference is. So basically, you open up your folder, go to content, and then you copy all this into the other content in the SD card. SD Caffeine, go all the way down, go into content, push OK, unzip. This might take a while because you're basically creating the entire character from scratch. Very good. So that is just the base. However, there's a whole bunch of other armor sets as well that we will be taking care of. So there's also the stealth outfit. Go in there, go into model, and then go into model on the SD card, and then you just simply extract these into that folder. There we go. And then you just rinse and repeat for the other ones. So that's stealth. Notice that's number 12, just in case it'll come up later. Then we go into the Hylian armor. Since it's already involved with the base, I'm not going to copy it over. See that it's 001? You already got those two files there. Makes it easier. So I'm going to cross that out. Go into the Gerudo armor. This is labeled under 53. Simply put that under model. And that is all the available armors that are open that don't involve DLC. So now that you've got all that out of the way, if you want to add more, you can download the Linkle Mod, which I believe I have right here. So you go into Content, go into Model, and then basically you'll notice the 1s are there, 5s are not, 12 is there, 14 is not, 17, 20, so on and so on and so on. So basically you just copy over anything in here that doesn't show up here, and then you will have just about every skin for Zelda, except for maybe a few of the specialty ones. I do know there's a Fierce Deity one, but I believe that's only available on the Switch. And there is also a Dark Link mod which has not been made for either of these versions. So before I begin by showing off this on the Wii U, first I just want to do a quick recap. So this Wii U folder, that's something that's in the download in the description. You basically just open that. Inside you have apps, and then you have all these other things available. That's not too hard to do. Now, the other thing is this SD Caffeine, that one you have to make on your own. Then you have this folder right here. Once again, depending on if you're in Europe or if you're in the United States, you got 2 different codes. Each of them are right here. You go in that folder, and then you have this folder. You can name it whatever you want. I just named it Mods for the sake of simplicity. Go in there. Name another folder called Content. This one has to be called Content. I'm pretty sure it has to be all lowercase, but I have not tried with capital letters. You go in there. And then that is where you dump your mods. Now, a very popular site to find mods on are called Game Banana. This is where you will find a lot of things. Let me just show some off just as an example. So these are a few that have been recently updated 15 hours ago. Wow, that was fast. And so on and so on. Just be sure you pick the Wii U version because there are differences between the Switch and the Wii U mods. So, now comes the interesting part, loading these into the actual Wii U. So the first step, it's pretty obvious. You want to load the SD card into the system. Just bring down the little door and put it in. Oh yeah, one other thing to mention. You'll notice that sometimes there's a little bit of a lock here. Make sure that it's set to the unlock position. Otherwise we won't be able to add data or get into it at all. Then we turn on the system. Or you can push the button on the system itself, it really doesn't matter. It's all about personal preference. Alright, so we're loaded. Gonna click on this little icon right here. This is how you get your internet connection. Be sure that you have this app set up. It might take a few minutes to get it started, but it's not too bad. Simply click there twice. Got your internet browser. Okay. Go into the URL, and then you type in this code, u.drg.li. Hope you can see that all right. Then you push OK. It'll bring you to this page. Let me just see if I can get a better picture for you. That's what it'll look like. And then you click on Exploit. Now this next part only works sometimes. Here's one of the easiest ways to tell. So you click on it. Now if this little blue load bar goes past the URL, that means it's most likely going to work. However, one other way to tell is this little me at the bottom. If you start sleeping, you should push on this little door icon if you feel unsure and then refresh the page. Now the worst that'll happen is that it will freeze, but if it works correctly, this is the screen you will see. Once again, use the big screen just for reference. click on the little arrow over here, and there it is, SD Caffeine. That's just all your technical information as to how to set it up. Click load, and then after a little bit, it'll bring you right back to the screen. There you are. And then just simply start up the game as usual. Now, one of the easiest ways to tell if you succeeded or not is that the load time will be a lot longer than it usually is. Now, because it takes a while to load, I'm going to cut back to when I actually have everything up and running. Once it loads up, it is occasional that it will be a little corrupted. Sometimes it just takes a little bit for everything to load properly. So there we go. That's starting to look a lot more normal now. So because I also put this with the Linkle Mod, just about every skin here has a counterpart. So we go with the old shirt. Obviously it's going to be cold because I'm up here in the mountains. Also, they did a pretty good work on trying to get the face to show that as well. Let me get off this mountain before I show off some more. Now that Zelda isn't freezing, I can give a proper demonstration of what all the armors look like. So we got the old shirt and the old trousers. It's a little corrupted, so let's give it a second to load. There we go. Now I have seen certain versions of this where if you have the old shirt, it'll have the dress that Zelda wears in one of the later cutscenes where it's like all really muddy. However, I have not yet been able to find that. So we got well-worn trousers. Basically just shorts, I guess. Championship tunic. Basically what Zelda wears throughout the majority of the game. Put on the Hylian hood. And that's her basic hairstyle, I think. Hylian tunic. Might be slightly different depending on which one you loaded in. Earrings. Basically a different hairstyle. Got the worn doublet. We got the snow quill headdress. Kind of looks a little different. Yeah, you just got the little bit of the feathers in the middle is all. Got the tunic, sapphire circlet. Kind of seems to give her Link's hairstyle. Got the desert bow headband, and I'll basically just kind of show off all the rest. Kind of thinking that's supposed to be a different color, but I guess not. The rubber armor. Pretty much the same thing, almost. Now, one of the personal favorites would have to be the flame breaker stuff. It's a very nice look to it, as opposed to the big, bulky metal suit that Link's running around in. You got the Zora armor. And this is one I end up wearing a lot. I find it weird, but I feel like in the original game, this outfit, I feel, looks a lot more feminine when Link's wearing it. But when Zelda's wearing it, it seems to look a lot more masculine to me. I'm not sure if that was a joke or if it just ended up that way on accident. We got the climbing gear. Maybe it's just those shorts, but it just looks like she's from Scotland or something. No offense to anyone from Scotland, I really don't know that much about the area. We got the Barbarian set. Which, to be honest, it just seems like they just turned her into Princess Mononoke. And we got the Radiance set, which I don't know what to make of this thing. Yeah, well that's part of the Linkle Mod, I know. I'm just not really sure what it's supposed to be. You get the Ancient set, which I've upgraded, so you get that nice little sound. And basically just the boots. Oh, and there's also the Salvager set, which I find it interesting they even included this. She almost looks like she's about to go into the Navy. Except for that hat, though. That looks a little different. And at this point, there is no Dark set, so it's the same thing as the Dark Link. However, one of the major differences with this mod as opposed to some other ones is that they also added in a few sound effects to make it sound more like Zelda. It sounds a lot weirder coming from the Dark Link. Let's make that make a little more sense. There. actually playing a Zelda. And also you'll notice that they changed up the paraglider a little bit, excuse me. So yeah, this is how you play as Zelda in Breath of the Wild. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll help you out as well as I can. Well, until next time, keep having fun.